Hello, and welcome to Appleton Engaged. I'm your host, Timber Smith, DEI coordinator for the city of Appleton.
And I'm Andy Anam, the communications manager for the city.
And Appleton Engaged is a podcast that explores the many people, organizations, and resources that make our community a great place to live, work, and play. So whether you're a longtime resident or just getting to know Appleton, join us as we learn more about our community together.
Today we have a very special guest with us on the Appleton Engage podcast who brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our discussion today. And in honor of American Indian and Alaskan Heritage Month, we are excited to celebrate their cultural perspective.
Yes. Facts, Andy. Facts. All right. This week's guests are Barbara Wisneski, founder of First Nations Outreach, Inc., and Jessica Wisneski, executive director of First Nations Outreach, Inc. All right. Did I pull that off?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Are you ready to jump in? Fantastic. Can you please tell us about yourself and your association with Appleton and the Fox Cities region? Jessica, can we start off with you?
Yeah. Well, both of us are tribally enrolled members of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, and we've both lived in the Appleton area for 40 years. We do both have experience in Indian education within the city, and we also have been engaged in other community organizations within this area.
I'm Barbara, and I'm an elder from the Oneida Nation, and I've lived in the community, like Jessica said, 40 years. I've worked with the Appleton Area School District, the Title 10 at the time, Native American program for over 10 years, and offered cultural programs to the students there.
Awesome. Could you please tell us about First Nations Outreach?
Well, it was first established in 1999 by our founder, Barbara Wisneski. At that time, it focused mainly on developing programming for women and infants, and it also was an area for community members to stop by, share their stories, and connect with one another. In July of 2022, we reestablished the organization, and at that time, we expanded on the gathering of women's Circle of Women gatherings and the continuing the Circle Baby Baskets. And we're providing more cultural awareness and more education to those in the community. We've networked with other organizations in the area. We're trying to develop more social events and economic resources for our tribal people in this area.
So you actually were around for a long time, since you said you started in 1999, right? And initially it sounds like you were serving mothers.
In 1999, I had written a grant from the Jeanette Elmer Trust Fund out of Oshkosh, and I'd gotten money there to start out First Nations Outreach. And I started out in my home, and then I moved into an office. And in the office, I had offered different programming. I had some computers set up. I had a story time, more or less a drop-in center where Native people could drop in and, share their stories. And then the money just kind of happened to be running out, so it was really hard to keep the office going. And so I was kind of on a hiatus for a while. And Jesse decided that let's get this going again. So that's what we are doing, getting it up and going and hoping it can become a community center at some point.
So what was your idea behind starting the First Nations Outreach?
Getting Native people together, getting them a place where we could gather together, because we really don't have that here in Appleton. And when you're living in an urban area, it's you're not with your family, for one thing, or other like-minded people, other Native people.
I can understand that. And so when you decided, Jesse, to bring it back, what was your thought process in the need to bring First Nations back?
Well, working in an educational institution, I've seen how our students and our youth are being impacted and affected, and they're still being overlooked at this point. There's still no to little representation within their schools that they go to. A lot of them are struggling getting the help they need. And so we're seeing low graduation rates, and we're seeing high absentee rates and things like that. And so I just really wanted to be an advocate for our youth and be the voice for them so that they're seen and they're heard. And for one, I want to see them graduate from school. It was really hard on that back end to see that, because I did go to these schools growing up, but I'm more one of those open people, and I go after what I want. And a lot of the students here, sometimes it's a culture shock because they're coming off of the reservations and it's a total different atmosphere. I hear a lot from those within schools that, oh, they don't make eye contact. They have their heads down. Well, in our culture, we don't make eye contact. We respect our elders. I mean, there's just, different cultural norms and things that you don't really see here. You don't really know because you grew up somewhere else.
That makes a lot of sense. What are some of the things that you're doing right now to engage your community?
Well, right now we've had a lot of Circle of Women gatherings. So we had an artist in residency program this summer, and Barbara was our first artist of the year. And she came in and did some programming. One of them was raised beading, which is an Oneida tradition. So she put together a raised bead kit for making a turtle, because it represents Turtle Island. And we're also Turtle Clan, so I guess we're kind of partial to that. But so that's one of the ways that we can bring our culture to our people in this area. And then there's other events, like we hold winter solstice storytelling, where it's open to the public, where we bring in a storyteller from a different tribe, and they come in. Last year, Randy Cornelius came down from Oneida, and he talked about the midwinter ceremony, which is a ceremony of the Oneida people. And we were able to educate those not only in our Indigenous community, but also non-Indigenous. So those are just a couple of the events that we've done and held to help get our culture out there and help educate the community.
Right now, we have several engagements that we are attending on an educational level. We are going to be setting up at First English Church, I believe it is, on South River Street. Further, We Are Still Here program that they're putting on. I will have an educational table set up there for First Nations Outreach. We are also invited to the Gamblers game on Friday, November 10th. And we will have an educational table set up there. And we are also working with Building with the Kids Museum, and we set up storytellers there for the week of November 7th through the 12th. So those are just some things that are coming up.
Awesome. What does your organization do for people who want to learn more about the Native culture? I feel like there's a lot of people who are curious. I think sometimes you don't know what you don't know, so you don't even know what to ask. But I think people want to know more and they want to be respectful. But sometimes when you don't know what to ask, you just don't ask at all in hopes that you don't put your foot in your mouth. Is there anything you're doing with non-Native community members educationally so they can learn more and understand more about the Native community?
Well, on our website, so we have a list of services, and that's mainly for our tribal members. But then we have underneath products, it's mainly for our non-Native community members. So we have where we can have workshops, and we can, with the teachers and education, we can help set up lesson plans and develop curriculum with them. We have some other things. We would love for volunteers from everyone. So we do have that also on that page. We have school visits. So part of what we imagine, hopefully more in the future, is if there's a school that wants us to come in and maybe speak with administration about how they can help reach their Native students, that's available. It's all on that page, and it all, right now it does have a monetary amount attached to it, but that is hopefully one way that we can help to raise funds for our organization so that we can keep servicing the community and that we can keep going to these different school districts, because obviously you have to travel there. And if it might not be just in this community, I'm hoping down the road it can extend throughout the state of Wisconsin, because there are 12 tribal nations that reside in the state of Wisconsin, 11 that are federally recognized, and one that is not. So it's not just our Fox Cities community. I mean, I would like to see this branch out down the road where we can expand throughout the whole entire state and help service all of those communities and all of those Native tribal members as well.
So what kind of resources are you looking for to help the Native population here?
Well, right now we'd really like to find a building that's considered a safe space for our Native people, a building that they can come to, they can feel that they're seen, they can feel like they're included within this community. like Barbara was saying earlier, there's not really a place for us to go to and meet. So we'd like that. We'd like to be able to have a space where you can bring in artists that are Native to show off, the Native culture. We want a space where we can represent all 12 tribal nations, and we can have those non-Natives come in and go through kind of like a museum, a cultural museum set up where each tribe is represented, and those people are coming in and they're learning about those 12 tribes. That's my biggest hope and dream. I've been wanting to do it forever. It's just right now it was the funding portion that's kind of holding us back. We are a 501c3. We just got approved. We waited a year for that, and we're just come on. So we feel like this will really open a lot of doors and that we can expand and service more people.
You said something about reaching out to the community. I mean, I'm open to go in anywhere and share my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Being from a big family, my grandparents, both sides had 16 kids. And they intermarried.
Wait, 16?
Yes.
16.
Grandparents, yes.
Okay.
And they intermarried with other tribes. Like I have an aunt that married a Menominee person, and then I had another aunt that married a Lactaflamba Ojibwe person, and then I had a great uncle that married into the Rosebud Sioux. So I have a little knowledge about a little bit of everything, but mainly I'm Oneida, so I basically know more about Oneida. But I'm willing to share any knowledge that I have of anybody that, calls First Nations Outreach and wants somebody to come in and share with them. One thing in the past that I worked with the Appleton Arts Museum before they turned into the Trout, and every year they had Native Experience. And I worked with Jody and his wife at the time, went in there and helped set up artists, did programming there, and we had over 2,000 children coming through there just to learn. And it was just a super thing. And I think that's what we're kind of looking at, is having something, like Jesse said, a center, but also an educational portion there for the community.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Could you share a story with the Appleton Engaged listeners that will help them understand all of the good work that First Nations Outreach is doing?
Right now, we're providing baby baskets for low-income Native American newborns, and we've, of course, delivered several. And just seeing their faces just light up because they're getting something that is going to help them with their newborn. In that package, we provide a package of diapers and baby wash, baby lotion, a baby blanket, a onesie, a sleeper, a book, because we really want the parent to read to their child because we know that helps their brain develop. So that's our reading program. And we put in there a dream catcher and also a pair of moccasins.
Oh.
And they're just so excited when they get it.
That is fantastic.
Are there any upcoming initiatives, events, or engagement opportunities that people should know? You have already touched upon that, but where exactly they can find this information?
They can find some of the information on our Facebook page, where we're setting up throughout the community. They can also find information on our website, which is www.firstnationsoutreachinc.org. That talks all about our organization. It talks about events that are coming up. It talks about how to contact us. It talks about volunteer opportunities, services we provide for our tribal members, as well as the product portion that's available to non-natives. I'm trying to think of what else is on there. There's a lot of information on there. So we do have the events page. It tells what's our current and upcoming events. Like she said, we will be working with the Building for Kids Children's Museum the week of the 7th through the 12th as part of the Celebrating Culture and Community Week with Molly of Denali. And when we were first contacted about that, I was so excited. I'm very, very old, but I still love watching cartoons, I'm not going to lie. So any chance I get to watch Molly of Denali, they did not have that around when I was growing up. So I really love seeing it. And of course, just because we're Native doesn't mean we're not learning. She's from Alaska, so she's not a Wisconsin native. So I'm learning while I'm watching that programming. And so I was just so excited when I heard out about it. And so that's coming up. And then we're also working on trying to get a program together at the end of the month. So we're currently in the works on that. And if you want to learn more, just keep an eye out on our website. And hopefully another week or two, we'll have more information out there for that.
That's awesome.
Well, now that our community is going to know about First Nation, what can our community do to be helpful? How can they help First Nation do the great work that they're doing?
Well, like I had said earlier, a lot of it is just providing a building so that we can accomplish these huge, remarkable tasks that we want to accomplish and expand and service everyone in the community. So right now, it's really just looking for funding so that we can get a space. I have looked for the last couple of years, and in this area, in a prime location, it does get kind of pricey. So that's kind of our main goal right now, is trying to come up with a way to fundraise or get donations. We do have a page also on our website for donations. We also have a fundraising campaign page that talks about the buildings that we're trying to get in, whether we lease something or we purchase it. So those are out there. Like I said, we're always looking for volunteers. We do have a blog on our website, and we also do send out a newsletter for those that sign up for it. And right now it's quarterly, and we start off monthly, but with planning, just, the couple of us working on stuff and the amount of time, it's just so hard to have a monthly newsletter go out while we're planning events and hosting events. So even if we have volunteers that could help us write up content, that would be extremely helpful. Or help make moccasins and dream catchers for the Continuing the Circle baby baskets. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. Help us type up the lesson plans for educators. I mean, there's so much work that we love anyone that's willing to volunteer their time to help us. If you can't do financial, that's fine. Time is, there's so, just a limited amount of time throughout the day, and there's a lot of work to be done yet.
So is there a phone number or email they can reach out to?
Yes, we have firstnationsoutreachinc at gmail.com. The phone number is 920-931-2535. And that information is also on our website. And there's also a contact page. So you can go to that contact page and fill out a little form that says contact us, and it comes directly to us through our website.
Awesome.
All right. So here's what I hear. What would be helpful are volunteers. And if someone out there knows of a venue, a place to be located, that would also be super helpful. And those volunteers, and I'm asking this, they can be non-native, correct?
Correct.
All right, because we just want good people to come help from the community.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I always like clarification. Is there anything that we didn't ask that you would like to share at this time?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. That's fantastic. That means we did a great job. So at this time, it is shout out time, and this is your opportunity to give shout outs. Let's start with you, Barbara.
A shout out. Okay, I'd like to shout out Building for Kids Children's Museum and our working together and setting up the story time for the children this coming week.
I'd like to shout out to the Fox Valley Technical College. They've been a great partner to work with and allowed us to host events along with them on their campus. So they've been a great partner to work with.
I'd like to shout out Linus Project. They provide blankets for us for our baby baskets. And the Fox Valley Diaper Bank. They also provide diapers for our baby baskets.
And I'd just like to give a shout out to all those who have donated to our 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization thus far. They've been extremely helpful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And because it is Native Heritage Month, I want to make sure that I send a shout out to all our Native brothers and sisters across the state of Wisconsin from the various nations.
Thank you.
All right. At this time, we're going to start wrapping up the episode. Thank you, Appleton Engage listeners, for spending time with us, giving us your minds and your ears. This is a work in progress. Please help us become better. Please feel free to reach out to us, whether you have suggestions on how to improve the podcast, or if you would like to be a guest, or if you would like to recommend a guest. You can reach out to us at diversity@appleton.org. Once again, that is diversity@appleton.org. And I do have one more ask of you, and that is help us share this great resource with more people. We think we have something very special here at Appleton Engaged. And the way we do that is by increasing our analytics. And we do that by, while you are listening to this podcast, take a moment and hit that subscribe button. And the other thing you can do is, if you really would like to help us, please leave us a review and let us know how we're doing. And these things help to raise our analytics, which means that more people learn about Appleton Engage, which means that's more informed community members that we have.
Thank you, Barbara and Jessica, and thank you for sharing all the wonderful insights and the work you are doing in the community. And thank you to our listeners who send us so much love and support the organizations we talk about in in the episodes. So we look forward to engaging you again on our next episode. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay curious, and stay engaged.